think luxury is just a niche market, a playground for the ultra wealthy. What if I told you it's actually this global force and it's expanding like crazy right under our noses? It's fundamentally reshaping economies' consumer desires. Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the fascinating world of the global luxury vehicles market. You might picture sleek cars, those high-end brands, sure, but the numbers, they tell an even bigger story. We're talking global economic shifts, amazing tech advancements, and how what people want in a car is changing everywhere.
What's truly striking here is just how much this market is set to expand. And importantly, how that growth isn't the same everywhere. It's distributed in really interesting ways across the globe. Our source for this deep dive is a pretty comprehensive report. It's called Global Luxury Vehicle Market Projections,
Yeah.
2021-2033, by Cognitive Market Research. And this document, it really lays out the trajectory of this market with incredible precision. Gives us a very granular look at the next decade or so.
Right. So, our mission today, let's try and pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge from these projections. We'll explore not just where the market's heading, but maybe why these trends are picking up speed. Which regions, which countries are leading the charge, and what are the real forces driving luxury car sales from, 2021 all the way to 2033. You're going to get a shortcut to being really well informed on this, understand the dynamics behind the big numbers.
It raises a key question, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How much bigger can this market realistically get? And what does that tell us about, say, global wealth trends, consumer behavior?
Right.
Well, the report shows the market was valued at $380.63 billion back in 2021. A huge number already. But it's projected to surge to an incredible $703.632 billion by 2033.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's nearly doubling in just over a decade. It represents a compound annual growth rate, a TGR of 5.267%. It's not just growth, it's a massive transformation.
That 5.267% CAGR, that's key, isn't it?
Exactly.
It means we're looking at a consistent, kind of smoothed out growth rate year after year, not just a one-off spike. It suggests something fundamental, sustained expansion across the whole market. So you're going to walk away from this deep dive with a much clearer picture of this booming dynamic industry, complete with some surprising facts, specific numbers, painting a truly global canvas. Get ready to zoom in on some really impressive data and the powerful stories behind them.
Indeed. That initial figure, nearly doubling its value, it really sets the stage for a period of, robust transformation. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it suggests not just more wealthy people globally, but maybe a broader global aspiration for premium experiences. It's kind of a testament to that K-shaped recovery we saw post-pandemic, perhaps, where the affluent segment saw accelerated wealth accumulation, which translates pretty directly into strong demand for high-value assets like luxury vehicles.
That's a staggering jump. And it brings us to a crucial question. Where exactly is this growth concentrated? What makes these regions tick? Let's maybe start with North America. The report shows this market segment growing from $113.639 billion in 2021 to a projected $199.831 billion by 2033. It's a very, very significant slice of the global pie. But what's really driving that continued dominance, it's already a mature market, right?
Yeah, that's a good point. A key insight from North America seems to be this blend of established brand loyalty, but also a really rapid embrace of new tech, especially in the premium EV segment. The United States is still leading the charge. It went from an impressive, $99.888 billion in 2021, and it's expected to hit $169.457 billion by 2033. And this growth, it isn't just about traditional luxury sedans anymore. It's heavily influenced by the rise of luxury SUVs and these high-performance electric vehicles. Yeah. So brands that successfully merge that cutting-edge tech with their established prestige, they're winning big there.
That makes perfect sense. You see, right? Consumers in the U.S. wanting both performance and sustainability in their luxury choices. And Canada also shows really strong growth, expanding from $10.227 billion all the way up to $24.579 billion in that same time frame. Mexico contributes significantly too, moving from $3.523 billion to $5.795 billion. But are there distinct characteristics, maybe different consumer behaviors in Canada and Mexico contributing to this? How do they differ from the U.S.?
Well, Canada shares some trends with the U.S., obviously, but its market often reflects maybe a stronger preference for practicality combined with luxury, given the climate. So you see robust demand for all-wheel drive luxury SUVs, definitely, but also a growing segment for, let's call it eco-luxury as environmental awareness rises. Mexico, on the other hand, seems to be a market driven more by Aspirational luxury. Purchases are often seen as clear markers of upward mobility, so the growth there is tied to an expanding upper middle class and this desire for globally recognized premium brands. It's a market where brand image, perceived status, they play a particularly vital role.
That's a fantastic distinction. Really interesting. Now let's move across the Atlantic. European luxury markets, they're mature too, but they're also showing fascinating resilience. What's driving that sustained demand in places like Germany and France, even with these strong sustainability pushes we hear about? Europe starts at $121.62 billion in 2021, projected to reach $211.09 billion by 2033. Still huge growth.
Yeah, the European story is really one of maintaining heritage while at the same time aggressively pivoting towards electrification. Germany, for instance, a powerhouse of automotive engineering. I mean, it's forecast to grow from about 23 billion to 22.986 billions to nearly 41 billion. 40.951 billion. Their luxury market is just deeply ingrained in the national identity. It emphasizes engineering prowess, performance, exquisite design. France, another key player, is looking at a jump from around 18 billion, 70.878 billions, to nearly 30 billion, 29.975 billion. Here, luxury is maybe more about understated elegance, bespoke experiences. And the UK also shows substantial growth from roughly $15.6 billion, 15.567 billion, to almost $29 billion, 28.708 billion, with a strong focus on high-end personalized vehicles.
So it's not just the raw numbers, but the sort of flavor of luxury in each country. That's interesting. What about the resilience and expanding affluence in other European economies? Italy, for example. Projected growth from $13.1 billion to $24.3 billion, and Spain almost doubling its market from $9.4 billion to nearly $19 billion. Even Russia shows solid growth from $12.1 billion to $19.6 billion. The demand isn't just stable, it seems to be accelerating across the continent.
Exactly. For Italy, it's often about passion, isn't it? Performance, iconic design, reflecting their rich automotive history. Spain's growth, maybe that reflects a broader economic recovery, a rising middle class with more purchasing power. The interesting aspect is how these different cultural nuances influence brand loyalty and the types of luxury vehicles people buy, from high-performance sports cars to sophisticated executive sedans, and increasingly, these luxury SUVs that offer both prestige and practicality.
Those are truly impressive figures. But let's just pause for a second. Europe's growth is undeniable, sure, but are there any unique challenges luxury brands face there, maybe related to brand perception, local competition? And then let's dive into what the numbers say for other regions.
That's an excellent point. One significant challenge in Europe is definitely navigating those increasingly stringent environmental regulations and also changing consumer attitudes towards large, high-emission vehicles. It forces massive investment into luxury EVs, obviously. But it also forces brands to think really innovatively about materials, manufacturing, the whole process. Balancing that heritage with the demands of a sustainable future, it's a delicate act for many of those established European luxury brands.
That makes perfect sense. A real tightrope walk. Okay, now let's pivot dramatically eastward. The standout story for me, looking at these numbers, is the incredible expansion predicted for the Asia-Pacific region. It's set to basically double its market value, from $89.315 billion in 2021 to an astounding $178.019 billion by 2033. That's a truly massive shift. It feels like a different kind of luxury market altogether, maybe.
Yeah, and a particularly striking aspect for me here is just the sheer velocity of growth. It's driven by an expanding affluent class, yes, but also by a distinct set of consumer values. China, already a giant, is projected to rise from about $25.4 billion, 25.365 BP each, to nearly $48.6 billion, 48.599 BP each. Their growth isn't just about wealth, though. It's deeply tied to their tech-forward consumer base. They're rapidly embracing luxury EVs, demanding cutting-edge digital experiences inside the car. Things like spacious interiors, advanced connectivity, bespoke services, those are paramount there.
And the real story of acceleration in Asia-Pacific seems to be India, forecast to more than double its market, from $16.7 billion to $41.8 billion. That puts India right up there with some of the established European players. But what's really insightful here, I think, is maybe the cultural shift that's happening alongside this wealth creation.
Absolutely. India's projected growth is truly a standout, hitting over $41 billion. And like you said, it's not just about income. It's about a rapidly expanding middle and upper middle class now viewing luxury vehicles as key markers of success. That's fueling demand for specific European brands, but also maybe new domestic
premium brands tailored to local tastes. We're seeing a shift perhaps from more discreet luxury to a stronger appreciation for, overt brand presence, high status symbols. The luxury SUV segment in particular is just exploding there. It reflects both practicality for varying road conditions and a powerful status statement.
That's a fascinating cultural insight. Makes a lot of sense. Japan also shows strong growth, from roughly $18.6 billion to nearly $32.8 billion. South Korea, too, $7.6 billion to $15.5 billion. Even Australia sees significant expansion, from $6.3 billion to $13.5 billion. It's really a regional boom across the board.
Indeed. Japan's luxury market often emphasizes refinement, precision engineering, that sort of discreet elegance. There's a strong demand for high-tech features, meticulous craftsmanship. South Korea's market, much more influenced by rapid tech adoption, a youthful, trend-conscious demographic. They value innovation, brand prestige. Australia, meanwhile, kind of blends that European brand loyalty with a preference for maybe larger, more robust luxury vehicles suited to its diverse landscapes. These regional nuances are just critical for brands to understand if they want to succeed.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it really highlights how these new economic powerhouses are reshaping the global luxury landscape, and often with different priorities than the traditional markets, right?
Exactly.
The projections for South America are also quite compelling. The market's growing from $28.1 billion in 2021 to nearly $55 billion, 54.883 billion by 2033.
Yes, and Brazil is really at the forefront of that growth, isn't it?
Looks like it.
Their market's expected to expand from about $12 billion, $12.065 billion, to nearly $22.7 billion, $22.722 billion. Argentina and Colombia also show impressive gains. Argentina moving from about $5.6 billion to almost $11.7 billion. Colombia from $3.9 billion to $8.3 billion. Here, luxury vehicles are often seen as this tangible symbol of stability, maybe success, especially amidst economic volatility. And consumers often prioritize those established global brands for their perceived reliability and prestige.
That's a powerful point about perceived stability in volatile economies. Interesting. And the Middle East market, another region with significant projected expansion, rising from $16.3 billion in 2021 to nearly $31.7 billion, 31.663 billion by 2033. What does this tell us about the evolving nature of luxury there, beyond just, sheer wealth?
Well, one key takeaway when you look at this region is how these markets, often associated with, extreme opulence, are continuing to see an acceleration in luxury vehicle demand. It suggests a deepening of their luxury consumer base, maybe beyond just the ultra-wealthy elite. Saudi Arabia is forecast to more than double its market, from just under $5 billion, 4.985 years, to over $10 billion, 10.101 BR. The UAE also sees robust growth, going from about $2.6 billion to over $5.2 billion. The focus there often leans towards ultra-luxury, high-performance vehicles, bespoke customization, reflecting that desire for exclusivity and personalization.
That makes sense. Fits the stereotype, but the growth is still notable. Turkey and Egypt also show substantial increases, though. Turkey from $3.1 billion to nearly $6 billion. Egypt from $2.1 billion to $4 billion.
So it's not just the traditional Gulf states driving this. It suggests broader economic development translating into luxury demand across the region. Exactly. These markets demonstrate how a growing professional class, an influx of international business, that also fuels luxury demand, often for maybe slightly more accessible premium segments. And finally, Africa. Now, this market is projected to grow from $11 billion, 11.022 billion in 2021, to over $28 billion, 28.145 billion by 2033. That's a remarkable surge, isn't it? Especially coming from a smaller base. What are the unique drivers here, do you think?
Yeah, here's where a really interesting story unfolds, I think. Nigeria is expected to expand its luxury vehicle market from about $5.2 billion to over $13 billion, 13.116 billion. And South Africa from roughly $4.3 billion, 4.265 billion, to over $11 billion, 11.289 billion. These are huge percentage gains. It signals burgeoning middle and upper classes in these key economies. And this isn't just about wealth accumulation. It's tied to rapid urbanization, a young demographic, and luxury acting as this powerful symbol of progress, success, in really dynamic developing economies.
It truly is. The growth in Africa, while starting from a lower baseline, it represents a profound shift in consumer aspirations. We're seeing luxury vehicles becoming this visible indicator of economic advancement, a desire for global connectivity. Brands entering these markets really need to consider not just the vehicles themselves, but the entire ownership experience. Service infrastructure, financing models, it all matters.
Okay, so let's try and wrap our heads around this. Taking a broader perspective, what does this all mean? We've just navigated a really expansive deep dive into the global luxury vehicles market. We charted its course from a huge $380 billion in 2021 to projected, what was it, $703.632 billion by 2033. That's nearly double in just over a decade, and it's happening everywhere.
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's pretty clear the luxury vehicle market isn't just growing in isolation. It's a powerful indicator of deeper economic and even cultural shifts. The underlying drivers, rising global wealth, rapid tech advancements, especially in EVs and connectivity, and this growing global demand for premium personalized vehicles. They're creating a landscape where luxury isn't just sustained, it's significantly expanding across incredibly diverse geographies.
Okay.
We've seen strong, multifaceted growth everywhere we looked.
And the stories within that growth are so compelling, aren't they? From North America's continued leadership, the U.S. hitting nearly $170 billion by 2033, driven by tech and SUVs. To the really strong growth in Canada, projected over $24 billion, Europe shows that robust expansion too, led by Germany, France, the UK, balancing heritage and sustainability, Italy and Spain almost doubling their markets. But then there's an incredible expansion in Asia-Pacific, jumping from $89 billion to $178 billion. Powerhouses like China and India leading the way, with India more than doubling, reflecting that profound cultural shift towards visible luxury we talked about.
Indeed. And it's crucial to remember it's not just the established players, nor is it one single market type. You have the remarkable growth in regions like South America, moving from $28 billion to nearly $55 billion, with Brazil at its forefront, luxury as a symbol of stability. The Middle East reaching almost $32 billion, especially Saudi Arabia and the UAE, emphasizing exclusivity, bespoke options. And particularly Africa, surging from $11 billion to over $28 billion, propelled by Nigeria and South Africa, representing this new wave of aspirational wealth. These figures reflect not just increasing wealth, but evolving aspirations, diverse tech demands, and really highly nuanced consumer landscapes all over the world.
Absolutely. It's truly a global phenomenon, and it's constantly evolving. Okay, so now for that final thought. Something for you, our listeners, to mull over. Considering these massive projections for sustained growth, especially the significant expansion we see in emerging economies like India, Nigeria, South Africa, which are driven by distinct consumer values, practical needs sometimes, what new innovations do you think manufacturers will prioritize? Maybe in areas like connectivity, or perhaps even more rugged off-road capable luxury, or maybe entirely new categories of luxury vehicles altogether. What will they focus on to capture this expanding, diversifying global market in the years to come?
It's a thought that really prompts us to look beyond just the cars themselves, doesn't it? Into the entire luxury ecosystem. What kind of experiences, technologies, services, what will truly define premium and exclusive in a market pushing $750 billion by 2033, especially as brands try to navigate local tastes and global demand simultaneously.
Exactly. Keep those thoughts in mind next time you see a luxury car drive by. Consider the incredible forces shaping its future. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of luxury vehicles. Until next time, keep digging.